welcome to this week's episode of Ask Rafa. Now, I've got a letter here written by a mother who says, or asks rather, why is my daughter still mad with me? So we have a mother here writing in saying that my daughter used to be my best friend. I also got on well with her husband and adore my grandchildren, ages 14 and 11. I used to visit them regularly and often stayed over. However, my husband and I went on holiday with them last year and had an argument with our son-in-law about not tidying up. The next day we ignored each other and my husband and I ended up leaving early. Since then, things have deteriorated. I still speak to my grandchildren often, but my daughter is cold and hardly rings me. And I haven't felt welcome or seen, and I've tried to make amends before Christmas. But since lockdown, my daughter has said that her husband, a successful businessman, needs his space, and I'm devastated. So what first comes to me really is several concerns that I have, which I'm going to point out straight away. Firstly, the main point I have here is the fact that you say that you and your daughter used to be best friends. Okay, now what I really need to say about that is it's not a really great idea. I don't know why people aspire to being the best friend to their daughter, because in fact you're a mother, and I think as a mother needs to play the role of a mother and not a best friend. And I think this is where your boundaries have gotten weak over the years and has created this situation. Now, not specifically obviously for being a best friend, but I feel that in all families there's natural rifts that happen, but I feel that somehow a mother's duty, if you like, or role is to be a mother, to be the guide, to be the nourisher and the nurturer. But once you cross that boundary and try to be friends, in my experience of working with clients or what I've witnessed, as well as the mothers who actually become friends with their children, they tend to have, I won't say so much the lack of respect, but the lines of authority or the elder tends to get sort of murky, okay? So that's my first concern. The second concern I actually have is I'm curious about the argument that you had with your son-in-law about not tidying up. Okay, now I'm really curious about what actually triggered it. Obviously, you know, tidying up is one of the issues. But I feel that some of this, which could be a really good learning for everybody, is when you go on holiday with family members or with a group of people, sometimes there's a lot of assumptions or expectancies, all unspoken, okay, which are sort of carried from what you expect, from your expectations, and how people behave, which might not actually match to your expectations. And I feel like when you go on a group holiday or actually share space with people, be it in flats or anything like that, it's really good to sort of ascertain some ground rules, possibly, or maybe how the dynamic of the holiday can work. So maybe, you know, sort of to hold a family or tribal meeting upon arrival before you get there, you know, to get to know your kind of the cottage that you've hired or wherever it is. Okay, that particularly when it's self-catered or, you know, in a home somewhere, even it could be your home or your daughter's home, but you don't say exactly where it was, it's just that you went on holiday with them, so obviously it's a holiday place, and because it's about tidying up, I'm going to assume that it was actually in a rental home of some kind. It could be a villa, it could be anywhere. But the idea is here is that you actually then forge a sort of a fair play role that everyone mucks in, okay? But I'm assuming that none of this was done. So perhaps what happened was you witnessed your son-in-law being quite sort of the alpha male, and you know, and I'm assuming that he was an alpha male because he's a successful businessman, and has probably the attitude of feeling that he doesn't have to sort of put his efforts in terms of cleaning up after him, or maybe just sort of eating and then leaving the things in the washing up sink, or just on the side, or not tidying up after him in the living room or the shared space. Okay, and you were witnessing this, and perhaps it got on your nerves, which is understandable, and it ended up or resulted in an argument. Okay, now I don't know any other backstory. This is what's clearly triggered the argument, and there's been a fallout. Okay, now the third point I actually want to make is that you actually bailed out. Okay, you said that here the next day, clearly there was bad feelings, which is natural when there's an argument that explodes, or kind of, you know, anything that goes out of hand gets out of hand, and an argument ensues. It is natural to feel very uncomfortable initially because there are some kind of crossings of energy or authority, or a challenge of authority that's happened. okay? And so that's naturally going to cause some discomfort. And here you wrote, the next day we ignored each other and my husband and I ended up going home early. Okay, so to me that was a bit of a bailout. It would have been far better to stick it out no matter what discomfort it is. Perhaps gone out and done your own thing, gone out for a walk, to show that you're able to stand within this discomfort, and then perhaps to see what resolution could have occurred. But you didn't actually give that the opportunity. You decided to leave early. Now, sometimes that is perhaps the best cause of action to take, but that said, it's now left a rift, a gap, which is what you're experiencing and what you're devastated about, okay? Now, the fourth thing I want to say here is the relationship deteriorated, and as you've not seen each other on holiday, so that actually brings me back to that point about the fact that you'd left early. Now, the other thing I want to bring out is about your daughter. You're questioning why she's still mad at me, okay? Now, your daughter has married a man who's her husband, so her allegiance is going to be with her husband, as yours would be towards your husband. So if you were to put yourself in her shoes, and your mother had actually spoken to your husband in a way that was rather cross, or sort of crossing the line, you would actually no doubt feel quite bad for your husband, probably humiliated, or even sort of feel that you would naturally, and I would say quite confidently, that you would side your husband. And your daughter's doing exactly that, okay? She's created her own unit with her husband, and you are now feeling the separation, if you like, that you don't have her on your side, because as best friends, naturally, that's going to be your natural reaction. And unfortunately, she's a grown adult and she can make her own decisions, and you are now suffering the consequences of a fallout. Now, I'm not making you wrong here for having a fallout, but you just need to see it in the clear light of day and exactly what actually did happen and why she's in the situation with her husband, and now what you need to do, okay? Because this is a letter that you sent in, so I'm going to be directing how you can actually self-manage and actually do what it takes to actually create the healing or the passage for reuniting, if you like, or getting back with your daughter on a level which probably would have changed now, but on a different level where you can both meet, okay? Now, the other thing I will sort of say is the fact that you were best friends with your daughter, and I'm sure I don't doubt for 1 minute that your daughter's love is not in question here, and your daughter loves you very much, just as much as you still love her. But possibly this rift has happened on looking at it on a bigger picture, that it needed to happen so she can actually step into her own sovereign and stand on her own 2 feet, just as much as you need to detach from your daughters and expectations of your daughter, and also just be able to be okay with the fact that you have no hold over her, and this is a situation you're in, okay? Now, finally, I think there's another one says, oh, and my daughter says her husband needs space. Now, this is quite interesting. The other thing often as well, when I've worked with clients, I found that sometimes women tend to hide behind their husbands or use their husbands as an excuse. Now, whether he actually said to her, we don't know, that he doesn't want to see you or doesn't want to have anything to do with it, clearly he's not managing also the possible rift, and there's no communication from what I can understand. All right, but I would say that she's actually using the fact that her husband needs the space in order to avoid further conflict, or how can I put it, not so much conflict, but her alliances with you versus her husband, okay? Because this is what possibly could be the situation that she's found herself in. So my best advice here is to say that you just need to give it time, and whatever time it takes. You get to see your grandchildren, so they haven't denied you that. Yes, you are upset that you can't see your daughter, but I feel that in some way there will be a point when your daughter will want to reach out to you, okay? And in the meantime, I feel that you really need to communicate what it is and how you want to actually resolve this. So the first thing I actually suggest is that you actually write a letter to your daughter and the husband and express the truth from your heart about how you're still feeling about this, and you're actually very sad that you've lost the relationship that you did have with them, and apologize for whatever mishap, or words were exchanged, or how they were exchanged, and even possibly leaving them in the holiday, because of course with you doing that, that would have possibly ruined their holiday as well. They would have felt terrible, despite the fact that it was a small or a trivial incident that actually happened to cause this sort of rift. All right, so that's the first thing I need to say. Perhaps when you criticized him, or maybe when you overreacted, also he would have felt bad and very emasculated as well. Okay, because at the end of the day, you're the mother-in-law, but you're not his mother. And perhaps this could have been resolved by actually calling the situation, and you left it possibly to the end where you were actually getting quite agitated by witnessing maybe his sort of lazy ways, or sort of not chipping in with his efforts, or just witnessing that he's kind of like the lord of the house and not doing anything, and then you imploded or exploded, okay, or criticized him. Either way, however it happened, it would have been served you better and the whole family that perhaps to sort of offer to have maybe a gentle talk about it, and sort of say, can we kind of create, since we're all here together, can we create a routine, or everyone to muck in, because I feel that it would be fair for everybody. It's everybody's holiday, and it wouldn't have been fair for you to do all the work, nor to maybe witness your daughter to be picking up after him. But again, that's not really your issue, it's your daughter. She's actually happy to do that, and she is doing that. Then there is nothing you can do. Now, if you witnessed your daughter being actually unhappy about it, and you can see that she's kind of like slaving away behind him and being very subservient behind him, maybe that agitated you and you spoke up on her behalf. But again, it wasn't your place to do so. So as you can see, there's quite a lot there. Now, like I said, I think what's really important that you just back off for the time being, allow the space that needs to be created. She will no doubt reach to you because she will miss you, and she probably is missing you, and there will be a point when she needs to return to you. Okay, she'll want to do that. Okay, and so by you writing this letter, just let it be, so you have a certain amount of completion around it. Okay, now those who've been following me on the series, Astro Alpha series, I tend to bring the chakra work in place. And the chakra, just to explain, is an energy system that it functions, or is actually, they're invisible in the body, they're energy centers, and they actually sort of are down your spinal column, from the top of your head on the crown all the way down through to your root, to your sort of perineum. Okay, now this column, there's a diagram up here now on the screen that you'll find, and this is a sitting posture, a meditative posture, and often it is activated through meditation, through yoga, and actually through conscious practice. But obviously you don't have to be sitting in a meditation posture to actually activate them or to work with them. But for the sake of the diagram, so here you can see there are 7 circles. This is your root chakra here. Okay, this is your sacral chakra, which is the chakra to do with relationships. Okay, and your one-to-one relationships. So I'd say that this really got quite affected. The solar plexus, which is to do your power center. This is where we hold our own, honor ourselves, and sort of are determined, and it's a very action-orientated chakra. It's also to do with your gut instinct. Okay, this is your heart chakra, which also I would feel that has been wounded. This is where the forgiveness needs to happen. This is where the compassion needs to happen, and this is possibly where you're feeling the devastation and the hurt and the loss of connection with your daughter currently. Okay, so this is the heart. And this is a throat, which is another really important one for you right now, because you need to communicate your truth. And I would recommend it in writing, so it would allow them to actually not feel invaded by your presence by coming or showing up unexpectedly, but to allow the words of what you have to say for your own sake as well as for theirs, and really express that. This is the third eye chakra, which is to do with your intuition and sort of the all-knowing and getting messages from the divine. And this is your crown chakra, which is also the connection, like it's a bit like the antenna or the plug, if you like, that we get connected to, grace or God or your divinity. Okay, so I'm just going to take it down to another diagram just to be a bit more expressive. So let's take this sort of diagram here. What you had here was a clash of wills, okay, to do with a power struggle between the son-in-law here and yourself here. Okay, you probably got quite wound up here and you lost your power. Okay, this is where you lost your power and you lost your rag, so to speak, or you lost your, you got upset. Okay, on a tribal level here, this is where you have your belief systems and what was set in stone, possibly in your life, or what your expectations have been. And this is to do with sort of family rules and laws. Okay, now a lot of them don't necessarily actually have a standing sometimes in certain people. Okay, so this is where it would have been good to lay the foundation. This is also a foundation, your stability and your security, all right, which is quite important. But I want to concentrate on three main chakras for the sake of healing. All right, you might want to question actually where did the energy come from regarding what really triggered you? What was it about his actions? I mean, you need to really look at that, and why did it upset you so? Okay, you need to sort of make that inquiry. And this goes for anybody in a situation with a family. Whatever's happening on the outside or externally through a rift or whatever really needs to come back to you, and then you just need to leave the change that needs to happen with the other person, okay? This is not your business to try and sort them out or fix them. Very important. Okay, but just coming back, I feel that in some way what's important here is what you need to strengthen is the oops, why is this not working? Let's see. Oh, here we are. Oh, I want it to be more orange, just bear with me. Okay. Okay, is the sacral chakra. This is to do with relationships. This is to do with relationships with your daughter, okay, or your son-in-law. You know, it makes no difference to me or anybody. This is where we have relationships and how harmonious they can be. So by actually focusing and concentrating on this chakra, you can actually allow yourself to be honored by other people, create harmonious relationships with others. And you don't need to change them. By you changing yourself, you're able to be more allowing and allow and accept, you know, and create harmonious relationships. And I'd recommend that you also do this healing, if you like, or working with the chakras, which is basically an activation of harmonizing and balancing, you know, with your sacral chakra. The next chakra I'd really recommend that you actually work with is your heart chakra, okay, which is the color green. Okay, this is where now you are feeling hurt, abandoned by your daughter. You're feeling a sense of loss. Okay, so you need to heal your heart so you can actually speak from your heart, but not from the wounded, victimized person, but from the place of your heart, where you can express how sorry you are or what they mean to you. And then, you know, when we speak from our heart, there's something about it can be heard, okay, because there's truth in that and there's a gentleness in that. All right, but if you go attacking and criticizing and saying things like, how dare you deny me seeing you, and, you know, we all used to have a good time, and this is kind of like a form of attack kind of communication. So communication is another element of chakra that really could really help you at this time. All right, so I really personally feel that the three chakras that can really help you at this time are the voice, the throat chakra, your heart chakra, all right, and the sacral chakra, which is to do with your relationships. By just tuning into those and actually working with them, you can find videos on YouTube that will help you harmonize them. And I also have various links. I'll put the links below in the description box of the chakras the actual meditations that can help you. Okay, one is called Healing Core Relationships. It's to do with boundaries, forgiveness, which works on your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, in your heart and your throat. Okay, and the other one is actually called Meditation for Good Communication, Empowerment, Honoring Your Voice and Speaking Your Truth. Okay, these are very common chakras that tend to get sort of imbalanced, and most people are not even conscious that they exist, and most people are not even conscious of the fact that they're very imbalanced, or they've kind of got polluted or kind of stagnant. And when energy is stagnant within the system, we don't operate from our real, authentic, empowered selves. Okay, and each chakra, like I showed you, the 7 chakras have a place in our complete wholeness and us living from the core and actually sort of really speaking our truth and standing for our truth, you know, being very rooted, grounded, and having relationships that are harmonious, be able to also have insights as to how to actually work with them. But as I don't want to spend too much time going over all the chakras, these are the 3 that I recommend that you could actually start working with. Okay, so do try doing that first. and then just see how you go, and then perhaps put in writing how you can express yourself. Okay, I mean, if you need to get some, if you're at this stage feeling quite angry and really kind of excluded or abandoned, I would maybe possibly write a letter that first, not to send it out to anybody, but actually get it off your chest, get it out of your system, throw that one away or burn it away, and then start from the healed person, the person's feeling calmer or less victimized by the situation. Okay, so the other thing I'm actually going to do here now is actually do a short tarot spread to see what the cards have to say about this problem. Okay, I've pre-shuffled the cards. I'm going to use the Rider-Waite cards, and I'm just going to choose 3 cards for the time being to see what advice they can give. Okay, interesting. The first card that came out is the card of retreat. This is the card of taking stock. This is a card, if you see really clearly, there's a figure there on a plinth, almost as if in meditation. Okay, it's not dead, but it's taking some time out. Okay, the Three of Swords here on the top is a classic situation, and the Three of Swords actually in the Rider-Waite often portrays the idea of heartbreak, sorrow. Okay, and you can see the Three of Swords are hanging there, so clearly you've experienced something that's broken your heart or has hurt you, and it is now time for you to retreat. There is one sword here, okay, which will also allow for kind of the mental clarity that you need to have at the moment. And right now, that's not the space you're in, because you don't have the clarity. You're actually still stewing and still feeling the emotional effects of the rift or the fallout and the separation. Okay, it is really good for you really to get internal right now, you know, do some practicing, maybe perhaps like I said, to do the healing. Okay, this is definitely taking a step back, not acting, not taking any action. And my eyes can't help but go towards the let me see if you can see it there, the stained glass window. Okay, there's sort of spiritual images there, and I would just sort of say, you know, take yourself out for a walk, you know, get attuned to yourself, you know, make a prayer, you know, ask for healing, ask how to be guided, what words you can actually express yourself, you know, call in the power of something higher than you as well to help heal your heart, and as well as actually be able to express and how you may take action coming up. Okay, so this is actually really, really excellent advice, starting with what it is that you need to do. Okay, right, so amazing. The next card here is the card of completion. The world often is the card of completion. So this is a situation you can definitely be moving towards, where you are taking control of yourself. And if you see this character in the middle, she's completely in her own domain. She's very clear. She knows exactly what she needs to do. And this card often also allows completing a cycle. I feel like you need to honor the cycle that you had with your daughter, you know, prior to this argument, and then create a new chapter, a new sense of showing up, if you like, in order to actually really sort of clear the deck. Okay, I think in some way that you've definitely learnt your lesson here. You're the wiser one out, and you need to be the wiser one out of the situation. All right, and this is something you need to go through. You need to have the courage as well to be able to take action, and also use your inner stability and your inner grace to the situation. It may mean that you might have to expose yourself, you might feel a bit naked and vulnerable doing this, but a true vulnerability is actually also very empowering. So, you know, sort of ego aside, I would actually, you know, dismiss the fact that you might feel affronted that you need to apologize or actually make amends, but this needs to happen in some kind of completion, and letting go has to happen in order for you to move forward. All right, so this is something that still needs to happen on your level, okay, in order to tie the ends to actually let something new come in. Because also with the world, it's a final card of the tarot, okay, so there's often a new beginning that, how can I put it, can start. Now, the other card that just fell out, which is wonderful, is this is actually on an upright here. You can see where there's been a battle. This is a card of arguments, battling it out and stuff. But the beauty is it's fallen out of the deck upside down. And when it's inverted, often it means the opposite, which is actually the ability to heal the rift, to actually, you know, not create any more dramas, be able to move away from the dramas, and importantly, in your case, in the way the spread is for the 3 cards here, is that saying that there will be a result of you being able to actually finalize and actually, you know, heal this devastation and this current situation of separation. And more importantly, you know, I mean, what greatness can how you can show up by actually being able to be the person to help heal the family dynamic, okay, that's caused this upset. And I really feel that the power is with you. This is an extraordinary card to get, and this is what you're capable of. And I think this is an opportunity for you now to really take a stand, step up, and show how gracious you can be, and call on grace to actually help you. So I'm going to leave that there. This is a little card. So I've just basically sort of said, I will definitely take time out, which is what I've said. Own your power. You have the skill sets to be able to communicate and know how to communicate. You definitely do. And just know that, in fact, you're going to be able to mend the argument that's happened. Okay? Yes. So I would leave it there. Don't worry about the husband. Yeah, I think he will be... I mean, I got the King of Pentacles just quickly there, but being on the inverted in this case, I think that he's actually going to be able to also be coming down on a level maybe, and to be able to meet you instead of being this almighty powerful king with, you know, sort of, you know, the businessmen and all the money and what else might you have. All right, just definitely make a peaceful offering, okay, from your side, and I can guarantee that you'll be inspired, and definitely you will be able to heal the rift. Okay, we've got the Ace of Pentacles here as well, so this is a really good message that's coming through, and I just trust that you will know exactly what to say and how to offer the peaceful offering. That is what's asked for you, so this is what you need to do. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for tuning in. If anybody's got any problems, do follow the link below, and you can actually write to me through my website on Ask Rafa with any of your problems or dilemmas or issues you might have to do with work, relationships, be it family, personal, or anywhere in your life, because after all, we're all in relationship to something. Or any concerns you might actually have, okay, but I'm very much interested in the core, which is to do with your chakras in relationships and your life. So these are the problems I will tackle. Do use the chakra meditations that I recommended. Also, the links are below. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And if you do sign up to my newsletter also, which is the link below, you will get one of these worksheets, which will also help you and guide you to strengthen your chakras, which I really recommend, because by strengthening your chakras, you really have all the tools to be able to sort of transform things, be an everyday alchemist, and just strengthen your core really, and you start living much more liberated and vibrantly. All right, thanks again, and I will look forward to speaking or doing another episode of Ask Rafa, and I'll see you then. Bye for now. Bye. Bye-bye.